Welcome back to the next episode of the Sunday Stash. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Tom, still here with this fantastic mustache. Still chasing Tom Selleck. He's got about 40 to 50 years on me, though. One day I'll get there. So, I'm going to try and keep this as an upload on Sundays, or record on Sundays and maybe upload the next day or something. I haven't really gotten a routine down yet, so it's going to get there. I'm still trying to get better with editing and processing as well. I'm still learning, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so this week's topic, it's kind of a series of topics, but it's one in particular that they all kind of tie in together. So earlier this week, I had a guy in my shop come up to me. I sat down with me and my boss, and he wanted to tell us that his girlfriend came to him and told him that she's pregnant. So I wasn't exactly 100% sure on how to respond. You kind of gauge that based off of how he reacts, right? And, if he's coming in and he's looking kind of sad, he may not be excited about it. If he's coming in and he's happy, obviously he's happy about it. It was a mix of the two. I think that's probably how I would be as well. But congratulations. He's obviously noticeably freaking out. He was kind of asking, what do I do? And I didn't really know. Obviously, make sure that she, this girlfriend gets to the hospital, not necessarily the hospital, but gets to the doctor, to make sure she's getting all the proper vitamins and all that kind of stuff. That's the number one focus. And I would say that's probably the number one focus. And then the other thing, he was like, what do you think I should do about getting married? And being the fact that I'm not married, I can't really necessarily answer this question, but I did have some opinions on it. In his kind of mentality is, he's kind of a traditional kind of guy. He wants to be married to her. Obviously, they're going to have a kid. I joked and told him it was a shotgun wedding. But anyway, his whole thing was, he's not necessarily worried about them, him and his girlfriend. He thinks that they've got a good relationship and that they're solid. He's worried about, and I don't even think he's worried about his family. Somewhat he would be, but I think his concern was her family. And he's just kind of worried about what they would think. Just trying to manage their expectations and stuff as well. He thinks that they're gonna judge him pretty heavily, or her pretty heavily, for getting pregnant, which I told him, this may not necessarily be the best advice, I guess, but I told him, hey, the family, they can, kick rocks. At the end of the day, if they're not happy for the two of you guys having a baby together, it's what it is. The guy's a good guy. He's got a good job. He's got great health benefits. You could ask for a hell of a lot worse in a guy that's willing to marry your daughter. So the other thing about that is, family opinions. Family opinions, they shouldn't ruin a relationship. They shouldn't ruin what you're doing. They shouldn't ruin what you want to do. They shouldn't guide what you want to do. If you want to do something, just do it. You take the advice of your parents, you take the advice of your grandparents, your aunts and uncles and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's your life. It's not their life. So anyway, back to the story. So what he kind of wants to do is he wants to travel home, and he wants to ask her parents prior to getting married if he can marry their daughter. So he's in a bit of a pickle, and this is more or less the situation that he finds himself in. I talked to him, and when we were talking about it, he's like, "Oh, I want to go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas." And with this being around the beginning of October, I kind of looked at him and I was like, I'm not a doctor, but Thanksgiving's about a month away, and I think he had reported or told me that his girlfriend was, I could be wrong, 6 weeks, 8 weeks pregnant at this point. So 2 months roughly. So I'm like, 3 months, you're 1/3 of the way through a pregnancy. I don't know. Maybe you're showing, maybe you're not. But even Christmas, right? He's talking about going home at Christmas. You might be showing at Christmas. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't necessarily know a lot of pregnant women, so I don't know what if you would be showing. Nonetheless, you go home and you ask the family, "Hey, can I marry your daughter?" And then 7 months later, she has a full-grown baby. I think people are gonna kind of put two and two together. But hey, who cares? It's whatever. It doesn't matter, what opinions and stuff like that. Guy's got a good job. He's going to take care of the girl. So anyway, in addition, so now he's like rushing all of this stuff, right? He wants to get her an engagement ring. He wants to get married. He wants to do all of this stuff. And this kind of brings me to my topic of the week. And this really had me thinking. What do we spend on an engagement ring, right? There's that plus the wedding itself. These are huge investments that we're doing, right? This guy's 24 years old, so he's pretty young. But like I said, he's got a good job. He's been doing it for 6 years now. So he's got a good job. He makes decent money. So what do you spend on an engagement ring? What do you spend on a wedding? And these are two things that I'm going to talk about. And then at the end, I'll give my opinion. Obviously, I'm not married, but my opinion is a little different than what most people's are, and maybe that's the reason why. So let's go for it. So anyway, how much do you spend on an engagement ring? As I started looking this stuff up, I've heard myths and stuff. I want to say that in the past, I've heard people say 2 months salary, 3 months salary, 4 months salary, 8 weeks salary, something like that. So according to brides.com, the myth is 3 months salary. Then I found another website called Value Penguin. They say 4% of pre-tax income, which 4%, I guess that's your yearly pre-tax income, which can be a lot, or it can be a little. It really all depends on how you view it. So if you're making $100,000 a year, 4%, $4,000. If you cut that in half to $50,000 a year, 2%. I mean 2%, $2,000. And then if you're making $25,000, that would be about $1,000, right? And I don't know. I don't know necessarily know rings, but Adam Ruins Everything. It's a video series on YouTube that has a pretty decent video where he talks about diamond rings, and I don't know necessarily how they're a scam, but he kind of covers it. It's a pretty decent video. It's not only like 6 or 7 minutes long, I think. So it's something decent to go and take a look at. Anyway, in my, I'm going to be clicking around here, I guess. So also, according to this brides.com website, obviously they talk about the 4 C's. I guess it's clarity, color, cut, and I can't even find it on here. But clarity, color, cut, maybe cost. So anyway, that goes into the price and everything like that. I don't really care about the ring. It's whatever. What I'm looking for is here's the average cost. And this is what they put on this website. The average cost of a ring, engagement ring, in 2018 was $7,829. That is up from 2017's standard price of $5,023. And I think $7,000 is absolutely outrageous. If we're talking 4%, there's some rich people out here buying engagement rings. So anyway, so 4%. Like I said, it's not going to be super crazy, but to increase the people that are paying $1,000, $2,000, to $7,800. I imagine you got some people out there that are spending 20, 30, 40 grand on a engagement ring, which I don't know, that's a car. So depending on the car you're driving, I guess. So anyway, in some of these websites, one of the things it says, and one of the ladies, it was like, everyone will work with your budget, right? We'll work with your budget. Just let us know what it is that you want to spend. And then I'm sure they won't make you feel like shit for not being able to afford more, or they won't call into question how much you love the other person based on the amount that you're willing to spend. I'm sure that they won't do that. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. I don't really know. I'm sure that there will be some subtle undertones of, hey, how about you spend a little bit more? How much do you love this person? So I personally believe you spend what you want. You don't have to spend a ton of money to show how much you care about somebody. The first thing that comes to mind right now is it's the thought that counts. And sometimes that is true, and sometimes I guess it's not true. Sometimes it matters how big the ring is so I can go show my friends and show them how much someone loves me, that they're willing to spend $10,000 on me or something like that. I don't know. So, rings, outrageously expensive, in my opinion. So that brings me to the next topic of, so 4%, 3-month salary, 2-month salary, something like that on your engagement ring. My next topic is how much are we spending on weddings, right? So I did a little Google search and found that, according to the Knot, the average cost of a wedding is in the United States is $33,900. Now, that includes the engagement ring, but I don't think that includes the honeymoon. Then, according to Value Penguin, which is a website that had the 4% pre-tax income as the engagement ring price, they say $24,723 is the average price for a wedding in the United States. Now, I'm going to try and put links to all of this stuff that I'm referencing in the description. But, as I started searching through these websites, I started scrolling down. I'm like, damn, it is expensive to get married. Now, all of that does vary dramatically based on the state that you live in and possibly the city that you plan on getting married in. I want to say the most expensive on average was, I think, California, no, not Connecticut, $41,000 average cost of a wedding, which then means that there's definitely some states, Idaho, $19,800, Virginia, $33,300, which is pretty standard, I guess. Wyoming, population's fairly low, 19,800. Utah, I think population's not super crazy, 19,700. North Dakota, South Dakota, they threw those both in together. 29,200. I guess they must be the same state. New Jersey, $53,400. Massachusetts, $43,000. Anyway, it's absolutely insane. Average cost that you're going to spend on a wedding. So that's that. Those numbers right there were from the knot.com. And now I'm going to go over to Value Penguin and take a look at those. So they've got, their numbers are obviously a little bit lower, but still, states like California, 31,000, Washington D.C., 36,000, Hawaii, 37,000, which is pretty high. You gotta fly all that stuff in, I guess. New Jersey was one of those other high ones. It's got 36,943. So those numbers are fairly high. So the average cost of a wedding is very high up there. Now, if you're looking to get married in the New York, New Jersey, Newark area, 38,000. Los Angeles, 34. Chicago, 28. Dallas, Fort Worth, 28. Houston, 28. Philadelphia, 36. Boston, 36. And the list goes on. Crazy numbers. So then, some of the other things that they talk about are the actual items in the wedding, right? So the least expensive things, photo booth, which I've been to 2 weddings before, and the photo booth was actually pretty cool. Invitations, wedding cakes, that stuff is not too bad, I guess. Let's see, find my spot here. Now, with all of that being said, right, that's a lot of money, throwing around a whole lot of numbers, and I know a lot of these cities and stuff, they've got a lot of rich people that are in them. So $30,000 may not be anything, and there may be people out there that are getting married for millions of dollars, which is what then brings the average up, and those people make millions of dollars, so they couldn't care less as to how much they spend on a wedding. But for us average people, the average man, that the everyday American, how is it that we pay for a wedding that costs on average $33,000, or even if I go with the very conservative estimate of $24,000, or even $19,000, if we're talking about getting married in Wyoming, right? $19,000 on average. That's how much it costs to get in a very inexpensive place to live, right? How are we paying for this? Who pays for this, right? That's a very good question to ask. Is it your family? Does your family pay for it? Do you pay for it? How do you have the cash? You're probably young. The guy talked about earlier is 24 years old. He's been working for 6 years. He doesn't have a ton of money saved up. He's got him a truck. He's got him an apartment. You get a loan. Is that what you're going to do? Yes, I used to work with a guy when I was in Virginia that guy, I think he took out $25,000 on a loan. And I just remember, and he is glad that he did it because his wife really liked the wedding, but, he spent the last, I don't even think he's done paying it off yet. And I mean, that's been 6 years, I think, 5 years, about 5 years now. I don't think he's finished paying it off. So I did some other research and found there are traditionally some things when it comes to who pays for what, right? So the bride's family. So the bride's family is responsible for the engagement party, the wedding dress, the wedding planner / the coordinator, invitations, the photographer / videographer, transportation, accommodations for the bridesmaids, pre-wedding parties, ceremonies, reception, the flowers, the wedding cake, and the morning after brunch. Then the groom's family is responsible for the honeymoon, the marriage license, and officiant fee, rehearsal dinner, bride's bouquet, boutonnieres and corsages, transportation for the groomsmen, and then the DJ, the band, the liquor, which, depending on the wedding, can be quite expensive. They do the old open bar, have a real good time. And then the bride herself would pay for the groom's wedding band and gifts for the bridesmaids and hair and makeup. And then the groom would be responsible for the engagement ring and the wedding band for the bride. The groom's attire, so his tux or suit or whatever it is that he decides to wear, which I'm glad to see today we're getting away from people wearing, tuxes and paying for a one-time rental of a suit, and you wear something that actually means something and it's comfortable for you. So wedding gifts for the groomsmen, and then the honeymoon. That's what I got on here, unless the family is going to cover it. That's all fairly crazy, in my opinion. My sister, when she got married, I think it cost a total of $800, something like that, $800 to $1,000. We all got together and just had essentially a party, and then somebody showed up, did the legal stuff, and that was about it. My older brother got married. I don't know how much his costs. I'm sure that it was significantly more. He was older, had more money, was capable of doing more. But it's all what you want, I guess. So, yeah, I talk about all that stuff, the numbers, right? The average costs that we're throwing out there for weddings, $20,000, and how are we going to pay for it? And if your family's got the money, okay. Your family's got the money. If you've got the money, okay, then you've got the money. Or if you say, you know what, I'm doing it, and I'm taking out a loan. These are all your choices. And I always tell people that life is about choices. That's all it is. It's just a string of choices that we make on a daily basis, and some are good and some are bad. And the more bad choices we make, the more, I guess, of a bad situation we end up in, and the more good choices we make, the more of a good situation we end up in. It's just a string of choices. So, and this is the part where I want to get to my idea, and I think most women would probably disagree with what I think, but I do think that it's a good strategy, and may not necessarily mean as much when you're young, but I think it's a good thing. So my idea is, instead of spending $20,000 or $30,000 on that wedding, right? So my thought is, you have yourself a courthouse wedding, right? You're just looking for the legal stuff. I mean, that's all you really want anyway, right? Because you're just wanting to, so we can file our taxes together. So I can come into the hospital with you, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the benefits of getting married are. I certainly don't believe that it's all religious based anymore. And that's not a dig on anybody. I just don't think that marriage means the same thing that it did 50 years ago. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't think that, we're missing the point of gaining legal benefits. Shouldn't hold people back from getting married because you don't believe in what they want. So anyway, that's a whole nother topic. So anyway, have your courthouse wedding, get your legal benefits, right? Because that's what you want. Have yourself a small party with your friends and family, or have a party with your family that's more not getting trashed, and then have your friends come over and go get trashed with your friends. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're going to do anyway. You're gonna go and you're gonna have a blast. You're gonna get drunk. Just go to a bar. Go to a bar and have fun. Invite a whole bunch of people out and have an adventure out of it. You plan everything out and try and make things memorable and everything like that. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's the adventure that means more than anything. So and that's why I say a small party, have a potluck. I know that this sounds totally crazy, and it sounds like I'm just a cheap ass, which I am. But have a potluck, or pay $1,000 or $500 to have it catered by Chick-fil-A. Everybody loves Chick-fil-A, right? Who doesn't love Chick-fil-A? So anyway, when you're at this party, right? Everybody's got cell phones. Just a cell phone photographer. Just tell everybody, hey, take pictures and send them to me. Or hire a friend who's starting a business and trying to get into photography. Photography, the barrier for entry it's kind of mixed in my opinion. You can buy a cheap DSLR, a cheap mirrorless camera, or you can even have a cell phone that gets fantastic pictures. They have autofocuses and all that kind of stuff. They're awesome. I've seen some of those pictures that come out of iPhones. Those things are great. Cut all that stuff out. Cut all the large expenditures out. Wedding cakes and stuff and everything like that. Those things are just cut the fat. Cut the fat that isn't really beneficial, maybe. The flowers and stuff like that. Like I said, photographer, you can have a friend take pictures. A reception band, just throw some music on on some speakers. Hire a DJ. I guarantee you, probably, if you're young and you went to college, somebody who's an up and coming DJ. Just tell them, hey, play this music. Guaranteed you can find some ways to cut the costs of a wedding, unless you don't give a shit. And if that's the case, then okay, then that's what it is, right? But why are we doing this, right? Why is it that we're spending $30,000 on a wedding, $7,000 on an engagement ring, right? What's the point of it, right? Is it a show? Is it to say, look, I can spend this on you? Is it to tell people, you know, look how much I care about you? To tell your wife, your soon to be wife, your girlfriend, all that stuff, like to tell them, right, that you want to do, that you believe that they're this, you know, you love them this much, that you're going to do it? Is that what it's for? Or are we doing it for our family, right? Because grandma wants it. Grandma's traditional. Grandma says we got to do this, right? Takes me back to the statement from earlier. My buddy, right, the guy, his girlfriend's pregnant. I guarantee grandma ain't going to like that, right? So, you know, are we doing it for our family? Are we doing it for our moms, our dads, right? Are we doing it for them to tell them that, you know, what are we doing that for, right? Friends. Are we doing it for our friends because we want to show our friends, hey, look, I found this man that can buy all this stuff for me? Or, hey, look, I can spend all this. Look at all my, you know, we're not talking about it. We're not saying, hey, look at all this debt that I just went into so that I could afford this, right? Or are we doing it for Instagram? Are we doing that? Are we throwing this stuff on Instagram just to say that we did it? You know, some of the statistics that I looked up, Credit Karma, they surveyed a whole bunch of millennials and found that about 20% of millennials are going into debt for their weddings. 35% are going into debt for bachelor or bachelorette parties. And 30 are going into debt just so they can attend weddings. It's crazy. We're doing this to ourselves as well. You know, so that's what I say, you know, our family, friends, social media, what's it all matter? You know, family and friends matter, but social media at the end of the day, it's a picture with 1,000 likes or 20 likes, right? Did you just spend, or 100 likes? Did you just spend $30,000 to get that temporary boost in your of self-esteem of 200 likes, 300 likes, 30,000 likes? Is that what it was for? Maybe. I don't know. What can we do with this money, right? $30,000. My car, when I bought it in 2014, it was 3 years old. I paid $12,000 for it. It's still running today because I take care of it. I do my maintenance on it and everything like that. You know, $30,000. I could definitely think of a hell of a lot more things to spend $30,000 on than a car, especially if I have the $30,000 in hand. If I'm taking a loan out for it, miss me with that. There's no way. No, there's no way I'm going to take $30,000 out to do something like that. Right? Say your parents give you the money. They give you $30,000. Or they give you 40. You say, hey, you can spend up to 40. Whatever you don't spend, you get to keep. What are you going to do with it? I tell you what I'd do. If I was a millennial, 24, 25 years old, guaranteed, you still got student loan debt. I don't even really need to talk about that. We all know that's a problem. I don't have numbers on it, but I'd be willing to bet damn near every single one of us has student loans. So why go into more debt? Why shoot ourselves in the foot, right? Down payment for a house. Granted, okay, you're not living in Beverly Hills for a $40,000, $30,000 down payment. But it's something better than nothing. Do an investment. Start an emergency savings account. Emergency savings for obviously rainy day. Ask your family to add that to your inheritance or whatever the hell it is that they're going to give you. Sure as hell better than just going into debt. It's terrible. that's my opinion. I've talked to my girlfriend. Wildly enough, I do have a girlfriend. And I've talked to her, and I told her these same things. I told her, I was like, do I have the money to spend on a wedding? Yes, I do. I've saved, right? I paid my student loans off. I did that stuff. I made the right choices. But it doesn't mean that I want to then go and spend money on a wedding that, is a couple of days worth of fun, and then we're gonna have some pictures, and it's gonna be on social media, and we're gonna have a album and stuff like that. But I personally, up to this point in my life, I've had just as much fun having small parties, small get-togethers with friends and family, and not paying a lot of money for this stuff. I would say that expensive weddings should be a thing of the past, and we should be building for our future. In closing, by all means, if someone is going to pay for your wedding, then go for it. I would definitely say, hey, can we work a deal to maybe I'll put the money in a savings account, or a long-term thing, or put the money in an IRA, something like that. Do it. But if your family's filthy rich, okay, do it. Whatever. Who cares, right? If you can afford it, right? If you're filthy rich, you're making millions of dollars a year, or a couple $100,000 a year, then go ahead. Spend $7,000 on a engagement ring. Spend $40,000 on a wedding. It's your deal. But what we need to start doing as young people is look at the world and determine what we are spending our money on and who is benefiting. Are we building a better future for ourselves, or are we enriching the lives of someone else and leaving ourselves to pay 5 to 20% to the bank that's going to just take advantage of you and your friends again and again? As young people, we need to make changes to how we are living. The only way that people will listen with money. So that's all I really have to say about that. If we can do better with our financial choices, as a generation, I think we can make some change in this world, and make some change in this world for the better. So weddings, all that kind of fun stuff. So thanks for listening. If you made it this far, awesome. Be sure to subscribe and give this a like if you want, and if you like what you heard. We'll see if anything happens at work that this week that really makes me think. Out.